I'm live and I want to talk about recording and choosing gear. That's the goal today. Going to talk about all this good stuff that we always talk about every week. So, doing my Sunday podcast because let me adjust my mic a little bit. Get this pop filter right. Okay, so I'm live. Um, I'll do this every Sunday. I did it Monday last week, but I'm doing it every Sunday. Want to welcome everyone as you're tuning in and doing the live podcast. I'm talking about recording. I'm going to talk about recording, or let's talk about recording. Since Pro Tools being the Pro Tools being the industry standard, that's the hot video right now. Welcome DL. What's going on? I'm good. It's cold. Um, I'm good. It's cold. We had a little bit of snow. We had some snow couple weeks ago. Some of it melted, but it's cold. Waiting for it to warm up. But it is winter time, so I can't complain. So I'm just going to talk about recording and choosing software and gear this week. Since I think that's one of the favorite topics on this page. So you say, am I making no? We're not getting enough snow for that. We might get an inch, maybe a little bit, but then a lot of the times it would melt. So because it can get up to 50 something degrees at one point. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people are going to start tuning in, but I don't know if y'all been noticing. The hot topic is Pro Tools being the industry standard. And I'll say this. It was a common use DAW simply because every commercial studio and even recording schools were using it. But pretty much you can do everything. I've said this time and time again. You can do whatever you need to do in any DAW. Okay, Reese. Oh, welcome, Reese. I usually do the Sunday live live stream. So yes, I use Studio One all the time. If you ask me to have I ever used Studio One. Like I said, welcome. I use Studio One all the time. So right now there's Studio One 7, version 7. I have an older one because I don't believe in always upgrading. I don't always have I don't feel the need to upgrade every time a DAW upgrades. You're saying, oh, you have a problem activating it. Check your license. From your, how you got, there's Studio One, the software, then there's My Personas, which is, should take you to your account. And then make sure, just check your license. And you can go there and make sure that you don't have it installed, because you can put Studio One on a lot of computers, and just make sure that when you getting it to activate, just make sure that checking your My Personas that is not maxed out on activations or something like that. But a lot of times it should activate as soon as you tell Studio One that you have a license, that you bought it. It should activate. So let me see. Let me see what Dio says. Are the major concept venues using Avid sound system for concerts and live performance? Not necessarily. I can't say yes and no, because there's so many live venue that they use a wide range of gear. Some using Digico. Some are using Allen Heat D Live. Some are using depends on what digital mix. Some of them using digital mixers or even analog mixers with a combination of outboard gear, and they're using audio interfaces. And a lot of times they'll use that because they're going to also do multi-track recording to record the concert. And so it just depends on their setup. You just have to research that. It's very dependent. You said, Reese says, after I click activate, it don't do nothing, but curious how you installed it. Okay. On Studio One, what I did was naturally, when I bought it, you go to Studio, you go to Presonus website, and then of course gives you the option to buy the software, like all DAW companies. And then when you buy it, after that, a lot of times they'll have you confirm through email or something like that. That you confirm it, then after it confirms it, then after that you're activated within their website and through your account through their DAW. And then a lot of times from there, once you're activated, once you log in, you got your username and password, you log in. Then on my Presonus, you have my products, my software, my hardware, things like that. So if you got some Studio Presonus hardware, whatever, like I got a Faderport, you make sure that you register that so that it sees that hardware, and that way it'll give you links to that drivers for you to download. So the Studio One under your Presonus account, you should be able to see my products. And then you go to my products, it should give you a link, like if you got a Mac or PC, the download whichever computer that you got, to download the software to that. Once you download the software from there, it'll start downloading. Plus, it's going to download all the instruments, all the loops, and things like that. It takes a minute to download. And then once you get everything downloaded, once you start the Studio One again, it'll give you what they call like all of them, where you don't have a license, they just give you a temporary way to use it. Sometimes it's just a temporary way to use it. A lot of times it's going to ask you for the license. And then, of course, you go to My Presonus website to your product page, and you should see your license. You should be able to enter or copy and paste that license in there. Then once you do that, it should now start up as your account. So it sees your account, and you should be able to get into Studio One. So that's how you should be able to do that. If you're not having problems, like I said, a lot of times something could have gotten corrupt. When you're downloading Studio One, you got to make sure that you don't have any disconnections in your internet. That's why I like the old way where you had a disk, but they don't do disk for software anymore. So, let me see. Joseph, welcome, Joseph. Welcome to the live stream. I'm trying to help Reese out with his Studio One install. You're asking me where my Behringer is. Downstairs in my front room. It runs pretty much every day. So it's downstairs. So let me see. Good welcome, Maine 257. You say I got it free with a Quantum HD2. Yeah, it's acting funny. But the topic of Pro Tools, I'm trying to get away from. Okay, gotcha. Like I said, for Studio One, make sure that even on that Quantum, make sure that it's not registered. Because sometimes people will buy a product and they'll register that product, and they'll forget to unregister the product, and then that'll cause you problems. So whenever I buy stuff from people or whatever, I always ask them if they got it registered with a certain company, make sure they unregistered or they delete their register, so that when they sell it, they can act that way. The new person can actually go and actually be able to use that product. There are people that have forgotten to do that. They forgot you got to unregister something when you sell it. Yeah, like I said, with that, because Studio One needs to see, just like most dolls, they gotta see, you gotta have a good connection to the internet for you to see it. For them to make sure that you're legit with your when you register Studio One and you get your license and all that good stuff. So um let me see what Joseph. Oh, okay, I got the Behringer Iridescent model. Oh, so you got the exact same one. I don't know if you got the one with, sometimes they have the meter bridge. Mine's has the meter bridge. So um it's a decent mixer. Um so but like I said, it's downstairs. I use it all the time, practically every day, really. Um so let me see. So but yeah, make sure you go on your my personas and make sure that you know, like I said, and it might it should activate. So um I got it on my Mac, I got it on my PC here, I got it on my laptop downstairs, my PC laptop down, and the one in my front room. So I got Studio One on 4 computers. So, and they're all activated. So I don't know, you know. Uh, like I said, if not, I would reach out to tech support to see why yours isn't activating unless something. But once you download the software, and it's going to tell you, you know, you have what do you call that when you don't have a license? I'm drawing a blank. Demo mode. A lot of times it'll run in demo mode until you actually get, you know, put in your license. Then it'll unlock the doll, and it'll be so. But you got to make sure your license is in input it and stuff like that. So let me see. Oh, Joe said mines don't. Yeah, I use my MX 8000 every day. Um, it's on down right now downstairs. Um, I've even done some demonstrations on that. I've done some song recording on that. I a person when I was making fun talking about, you know, that one person said that I did a video where I used that desk and I did some stuff on Cakewalk and I used that desk, and sounds like any other professional product, you know, out there. Um, so welcome Spawn. Um, welcome. Um, so Reese, you asked me, so how do I feel about my Altron? Still going good? Yeah, for the most part, like I said, I got 3, except for one started acting funny on the output, but I'm not going to dog Altron for that because it was only $3.99 through Reverb. The other 2 are working flawlessly. Just I don't know if it just could be a faulty capacitor or something in that. I don't know. But for the most part, as far as sound quality, um, for the price, for you to get that genuine Neve 1073 quality preamp sound, I think that's the best bang for the buck. That's the best bang for the buck for those Altrons, because you know, even Warm Audios, you know, they were for 2 of those were still $1,500 if you got the dual. A single one is still $70.99, or you got a Heritage Audio 73, that was $1,200. Ventec Audio was $1,400. Of course, BAE, I'm like, for the price of BAE 73s, I might as well get a Neve. They want the same price as a Neve. I'm like, and you're copying Neve, but you want the same price as Neve. You're copying Neve. I might as well get the Neve for the price of a BAE. And BAE stands for British Audio Engineering. But I'm like, that makes no sense to buy a BAE clone of a Neve when I can get the Neve for the same price. If y'all, you know, that's anyhow. So moving on. So oh yeah, recess, too bad. Yeah, probably talking about the Altron. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it sucks because, you know, like I said, when I talked about it, I did a little review on it. It wasn't really, I wish I'd done a better review, but I talked about it. But like I said, for the overall, for $3.99 to get a to get a really nice, well-built Neve clone for $399, I'm not complaining that much. Especially for as good as they sound. As far as sound quality, I will put them against any other Neve clone or Neve itself. So I'm not going to complain about that. So Reese said, well, the reason why people like BAE because they say it's more original than the new Neve 1073. I don't know. Well, like I said, from what I've listened from, I've heard lots of demos, even with Warm Audio 73. And honestly, for $7.99, or even on the Warm Audio, I couldn't justify spending $2,500 or $3,000 on a BAE or Neve when the Warm Audio sounds as good, because no one's going to hear that in a mix, in a recording, whether it was done on BAE, Neve, or a Warm Audio, as an example. No one can hear that. So as far as BAE, even if they say that it sounds close to a vintage Neve 1081 module out of that console, right? That Neve, the original 1081 out of a Neve 8048 console, right? From the 80s, 70s, right? A lot of those circuits you can't get anyway. Rupert Neve, and all of them, when they were building those they can't get a lot of those exact transformers or circuits anyway. But even with the 1080s, the 1081's reissues or whatever. But once again, when you're listening to a high quality mix or recording, even on a modern, because you have some people, I'll go back to, I was talking about, his name is Brando. He owns Conway Studios. He's done top line artists in that recording, from Michael Jackson, Janet, to Dr. Dre in Conway Studios. And he was saying how he prefers a more modern VR console over the 8048s. Like Sylvia Massey uses the 8038. And then, of course, in Blackbird, they have a vintage 8078 console. When Andrew Sheps was doing a Neve console, he had an 8048 console with those 1081s. But a lot of those, when those preamps broke, they couldn't put the original 1081s back in that console. They had to put them with more reissue, updated 1081s, because they don't make them anymore. Same thing with SSL. You can't get any of the original SSL components from an actual, classic SSL 4000E console today anyway. They don't make a lot of those components anymore. So going back to welcome Born Shamir. We're just talking recording and gear. Welcome John. Everyone is tuning in. So yeah, that's the, so the reason I wanted to talk about recording and gear and all that, because y'all probably seen my other video where I talked about, how some people want to criticize that, and I hate to say it, but I'm like this. If I start making review videos on gear, and then I don't like when people start attacking, my review, or if I make my thoughts, it's like, I was telling Bolo, the producer, I wrote a comment when he was talking about Pro Tools isn't the industry standard. Then he made another video, and I said, you don't have to defend your opinion. That's your, your opinion, that's, you're basing facts to what your thought is. Pro Tools is no longer an industry standard. It used to be, but Pro Tools is still a widely used DAW, but people are using everything now because more people are doing things at home. It really varies the need to go to a commercial studio today. But even if you did projects, here's the thing. If someone did something in Ableton Live, other than if they did everything with the Ableton Live instruments or the loops or whatever, but if they did some audio tracks and they wanted me to upload it in for the DAWs that I use, I would prefer them to save those files as WAV files That way I can load it into, because WAV files are going to any DAW. They're not format. They're not DAW specific. So, but yeah, I was going back to what I was saying originally about when you're making review videos on gear. Yes, you're gonna, if I make a review and I didn't make a good review, if I made a negative review about a piece of gear, you're gonna offend somebody. You can't get mad if they write something on your page, because someone's gonna like the gear that you're critiquing, and it's gonna be, you gotta have you have to have a it's kind of like when I used to be a recruiter, you have to have thick skin. I used to get hung up on it all the time when I was making phone calls trying to get people to talk about the Army. You have to have thick skin. So you can't have thin skin when you're criticizing gear, because there's always going to be some gear that people like that you're critiquing. So let me see. Going back to some more comments. Spawn says, see, I was going to ask you what's the best year of the U87, because they have chess ones now, but the old ones cost like 40. I would say, well, that's dependent. And the reason why I'm saying about the U87, I'll talk about the Neumann U87 microphone for a quick second. A Different Taste album that we did down in the 90s was done. They recorded vocals on a U87 microphone. So the U87 microphone was like one of the go-to microphones. I think at that time that mic was about $5,000 to $6,000 for a Neumann U87. I don't think it like the one you're talking about from the 60s or whatever. But it was one of the go-to microphones for vocals. It's not a tube microphone. It's a FET. It's a solid state FET microphone. But I would say it really depended on the engineer. But the U87 was probably used for, I would say, the most sought after microphone from late 80s to the round up into the 2000s. So that time from about 15 years before, especially when you start having a lot more microphone companies start popping up. From Browers to, of course, there's always Telefunk and Newmans and all that, but there's over 150 microphone makers out there. Spawn says because it's not made to. Yes, like I said, you got to look at the components of electronics. If the companies that make components like resistors, they go out of business, you're not going to have the same resistor component. So they got to find other companies. And that resistor a lot of times boils down to even the spec quality of the resistor. You can have two. It's like buying a battery for your car. Your car battery, a Superstar from O'Reilly's versus a Duralast at AutoZone versus you go to Vance Auto where they sell diehards or whatever. And they all could be the same class battery, but they all don't have the same quality material to make that battery up, so it's dependent on the quality of the components. So John says, I just got a Vote 1 for recording vocals. It does a good job. And it Vote's a UA product. UA, which is Universal Audio, they're known for making pretty good products. So I'm not going to debate that. I think that I've seen that. I think for the price of those Vote audio interfaces, that's you get a really good deal. And so, John says no one sees Pro Tools as an industry standard. I don't think no one sees Pro Tools as an industry standard anymore. It was an industry standard. I can't take that from it, but it's only because DigiDesign was brilliant at marking that to be the go-to DAW, especially for recording schools, and recording schools interact with recording studios, and the recording studios were recording the industry because everyone was getting away from tape machines. So everyone, so they needed a DAW and an audio interface, because DigiDesign used to have their own interface. You had to have their system for it to work. They were, it wouldn't work with just your standard, like when you had Atari or Cakewalk or Logic or the other DAWs. Like, even though I did everything in Cakewalk, in the 90s. Um, so so it just depends. But as far as would everyone being able to do it, just like FL Studio was not that good in the 90s. It was, but now FL Studio is a banger. So, just depends. John says, as I see Big Wig and Reasons better than other dogs to me. And that's personal preference. That's personal preference. I like Reason. But then again, you have some people that would say Ableton Live. There are Ableton Live users here, or there are Studio One users. Everyone they can counter that because a DAW is only as good as how you know how to use it. If you know how to use a DAW, you know how to make it do what you need to do, and you're super proficient at it, and it does everything then that would counter if someone else was using a different DAW like Cubase. Some people will swear by now Cubase is the best DAW ever. But then there are people that say, no, new window. It's all personal preference. But Reese said, in my opinion, Pro Tools is the standard. Now, every city I go to, and it is a standard because that's the DAW. That's the DAW that in the pro world decided to use. But when a lot of people, like even people on my channel saying that Pro Tools is not necessary. I've never said it was never necessarily an industry standard. I just said it's just not necessary. Everything you can do in Pro Tools, I can do in Cakewalk. So, and Reese says, of course, going back to every engineer, of course, because it's what they train when you got a lot of these engineers in school. Warren Hughes uses it. Andrew Sheps uses it. Sylvia Massey uses it. Chris Lord-Alge uses it. Bob Clearmountain uses Pro. I mean, because it's one of those things where it's no different than like a 1073 preamp. That's pretty much every commercial studio is going to have a 1073 preamp or Pultec EQ or LA2A compressor. They're going to have the ubiquitous gear, and every pro engineer uses them and the reason why they do that, because it's something familiar and common. You go in there and they say, okay, I went to this studio. Okay, I'm working in Capitol Studios today. Tomorrow I'm going to be working in Ocean Way Studios. Next day I'm going to be working in East West Studio, then I'm going to New York to work in Electrolathe. Then I'm going to go down to Miami working in Hit Factory. If you go in one of those other studios, now all of a sudden you see something like it could say, let's say the compressor they got is a rack of mid levers. You're like, mid levers? I've never heard of mid levers. What? That's the reason why they try to use ubiquitous gear, including Pro Tools as a DAW. That's the only reason why. But what everyone's finding out is that everyone can do the same stuff. It's the reason why you got Sound Toys as your choice of plugins versus someone using Slate, or someone else is using Waves, or someone uses acoustic audio, or someone else is using Isotope, or some people are using FabFilter, whatever. So you have a whole variety of plugin companies, and people are using it. Same thing with different plugins and different companies. So, but a lot of people can still get the same results regardless of what company or what gear that you're using. That's what we're saying about Pro Tools not necessarily needing to be the industry standard anymore, because a lot of people don't need to go to commercial studios as much anymore. People still do go to commercial studios, but it's not a need anymore. It becomes more of a choice. Welcome, Joe. Let me see. I got so many comments that jumped in so fast. I didn't. Let me scroll up. I missed because everyone started writing super fast. Let me see. Okay, Spawn says there's no way to set way to make music. People like things and others don't, but that's what makes it. Yeah, exactly. It's the choice of everything. Cars, cameras. I mean, there's choice of food. It's like no different than, you can have Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, and then there's other companies that make Frosted Flakes. People are going to choose Most people choose Kellogg's because that's what they know. People go with stuff that they know. It's the same thing when I was talking about why these studios have some of the most ubiquitous gear. They go with stuff they know, they're familiar with. No top level studio in California that you ever been to ever use anything else other than Pro Tools. Trust me, believe it or not, Reese, I'm gonna say this on that. You may see that they had Pro Tools because that's the most common, but you'll be amazed they have other DAWs. That just they did never. Most clients they don't prefer to use other DAWs other than Pro Tools because that's the choice. Most clients know when they go to those commercial studios, they're going to use Pro Tools. They don't really let you know they did. They have Logic Pro and Studio One, some of those. Not every studio, but trust me, they have more than one DAW. Let me see. Let me see. Joe says, I just turned in. Welcome, Joe. I've seen a lot of videos popping days about Pro Tools being in the trend, and makes me think that Avid is losing customers and they're pumping there. Well, like I said, I've seen videos where it's a lot of Pro Tools users jump to other DAWs. I think the biggest thing was how Pro Tools did their subscription thing, and most Pro Tools users didn't like that. So they decided to jump on other DAWs like Logic. Some people started using Logic Pro more. Others started using Studio One more. Some people started using Harrison Mixbus more. Some people start using this DAW more, and so forth. So, but like I said, going back to, like I said, let me go back to sponsor you guys. That's what made Pro Tools a standard. Why? Because yeah, exactly. No one's debating that. I don't know why the people when I said that, when I say you can do it, when I made a video about it, you can work in any W, not just Pro Tools. I never said it wasn't an industry, it wasn't a standard everyone was using. Bolo producer said Pro Tools is an industry standard. I never said that. I was saying people are using whatever DAW, and you can do what you need to do in any DAW. You don't have to have Pro Tools. That's what I've always said. No one's arguing. I think Pro Tools is an excellent DAW. If it wasn't an excellent DAW, no one would have ever used it. But there are way more choices than just Pro Tools. That's what I'm saying. Let me see. The Mix Club said, for me, it depends on how I receive sessions. Yeah, and once again, and that's what I've been saying. Someone does something in Logic Pro, the client might want to work in Logic Pro. They just might want to, you just might have better gear or whatever the choice, they might decide to go to a different studio. But I guarantee you go to those other studios and you tell me that you got Logic, you got a Mac. Most commercial studios were using Macs. They probably got Logic Pro. You just got to ask them, hey, I know you got Pro Tools. You got Logic? You'd be surprised. I mean, say, yeah, we got Logic. I got a session I've done in Logic. Okay, well, let's load it up. You'll be amazed. Deal says that Pro Tools video was a brilliant way to get attention to YouTube channel drama. So yeah, it's once again, even there's a guy named Copperneck, I believe, Cole Copperneck or something like that. He's based out of Nashville, and he made a video on why you should use Pro Tools. And I'm like, and his reason was because every commercial studio, the premise was every commercial studio is using it. And I'm like, okay, that's only if you need to go to that commercial studio or to a commercial studio. If you don't need to go to a commercial studio, then you don't need Pro Tools. And then sometimes that you can actually, let's say you do need to go to a commercial studio, you can always ask them, let's say you did your session in Studio One. You can always ask them, hey, do you guys got Studio One? Because Studio One works on Macs and PCs. You'd be amazed how some of them will say, well, no, we don't have Studio One. Some will say, yeah, we do. Because some people want to go to that commercial studio because they want to run their stuff through that SSL or Neve console as well. Or they want to use their outboard gear because they just don't have it in their home studio. So it really depends. There's so many variables to that. So Spawn says, yeah, exactly. That's really what it's some Spawn said. It wasn't because it was the best, it's because everyone had it. That's all. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It was just I made a video on that. It became a standard DAW that if you did sessions in Pro Tools, if you went to another studio, they had Pro Tools. It made life easy. Versus going to one studio and they got Pro Tools, another studio, they got Studio One, another studio, they got Cakewalk, another studio, they got Reason, another studio, they got Reaper. Well, that's not going to work unless you're just doing WAV files. Then it'll work because every DAW can load up WAV files. They just can't load up specifically formatted. That only works for that type of style of coding for that DAW. Like Cakewalk coding software won't work in another DAW because of the coding. But WAV files are universal. You can load up a WAV file on any DAW. So that's the reason why Pro Tools became the biggest argument. Before that, remember we were talking about why recording studios were closing, and everyone started talking about the reason why recording studios were closing. But and let's see, John says an acoustic Avio Lava changes over. Over the Newman U87. I'm not familiar with their Lava, but okay, I have to read up on it. So okay. This is like saying the U87 is in the standard. Like I said, most commercial studios are probably going to have a U87 because producers, if you ever look at a commercial studio, they always tell you what they have in what kind of gear they got, including the microphones. And there are some producers that look for studios that make sure they have a U87 or C800G or whatever, a Newman 67 or 47, or do you have a 47 FET or whatever? Do you have these type of preamps, these type of EQs, these type of compressors? What kind of console are you using? Let me check out the live room. Let me check out the control room. All this stuff. Some producers, because they want to make sure they have the gear is going to get the exact sound in the recording they're trying to capture when they're working with these artists. So they look at the specs in every recording studio, and most of your top of line studios are going to have the same type of gear. And then some producers might bring in, even though that studio might be using, for example, Westlake's in the wall, and their near field monitors might be Yamaha NS10s. Well, they might bring in their own near field monitors. Like they might bring in a pair of ATC SM 25As or whatever, because they would like the sound of those speakers. So sometimes they bring in a few of their own pieces of gear. Or you guys are using Lexicon, but I want to use Bricasti effect process, So I'm going to bring my Bricasti. So sometimes they're bringing their 500 rack series stuff, or they're bringing whatever. So it just depends on what the producer's looking for. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it's all preference. Yeah, let me see, sponsor. Different clients work with different. Yeah, exactly. Let me see what else we got. Let me see. Okay. So is it DL? You're asking, is it worth the time and effort to become an audio engineering professional? I say yes if you're not looking to make a lot of money, because the music industry is broke. But it's worth it if you love the passion for recording or engineering, recording or mixing or whatever. Yes, if you love doing that, for sure. But if the days of the Bob Clear Mountains, Chrysler Algaes, and becoming mega icons, it's no different than recording artists, because home recording studios are popping up like bloop, 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 bloop. It's like roaches. It's like bam, bam. They're popping up all over the place because it's easy. You can build it. You can get started for pennies on a dollar now. You don't need to have millions of dollars to do a commercial. You can have a really nice home recording studio setup in your home, I would say a really good one for less than $3,000 now. And it really depends on your genre of music too. So welcome, Lucas, Junior Studio. Welcome. He says you have an issue. I have a little issue how to record a vocal without my gear noise. I have a V chain. So you have Avalon Pre, the Warm Audio 76, and the Warm Audio 2A. I know it's a normal hardware noise, but there's a tip on have less noise. A couple of things. Here's my next question for the recording. For your vocal chain. My question would be, because the W76 and the W2A is considered parallel compression. And the Avalon, or if the Avalon, I'm going to have to assume you have a 737 like I do. My question would be, do you have to run the parallel compression for your vocal chain? Because it would seem to me, if you're not going to engage the compressor on the Avalon, that you're going to use the 76 and the W. Yeah, you're gonna get noise. My question is, eliminate the WA2A out of the vocal chain. Use the preamp on the Avalon and then run it through the 76 and then record and then check your levels in your DAW. First, I would second make sure that your stuff is properly grounded. You don't have because we say noise, could it be ground noise or is it hiss noise from just because as you add more pieces of equipment in the chain, you can start to build noise. So that's where I would look at first, eliminating one of those as in the vocal chain. I don't think you necessarily need to run because the 76 is fast enough to you already, instead of using the optical cell, you already got the 76 is a FET type of compressor. For vocals, no more than your settings of 4:1 on the ratio, and how you set your attack and release, because it's fast. It's a fast enough compressor to keep it from peaking. Like for me, I don't have a W76. I have the Lin 76. So I'll run through the Avalon. Then that runs through my Lin 76 compressor as a vocal chain. That's all I'm running for vocals. And then also, make sure your artist, I don't know if there's sometime about this thing right here. Let me fix this pop filter right quick. Make sure that your artist, based on whether mic placement too, a lot of that, because some artists are louder than others, but I would try that. I would eliminate that WA2A out of the vocal chain and then see how your recordings come out. So, all right, let me see. Let me see that. Okay, let me see it. Man, y'all are writing some stuff. Let me see. Okay. Oh, Reese says, right now I got a bug with my Pro Tools. It pops and clicks. On your pops and clicks, go back and make sure. I would double check your buffer speed, and your latency and all that. I would go back and double check that. Especially on the recording side, sometimes people have it too high of a buffer. A good place would be 512 or 256. Then some people go back and change it and make it higher for playback. So check that on the pops and clicks. A lot of times that pops and clicks comes from that the processor can't keep up. Especially if you're multi-tracking. So check that. So let me see. Let me see what else we got going on. Let me see. Let me see. Y'all. Wow, I can't keep up with the comments. Okay, so Joseph's asking, where can I buy a meter bridge for the Behringer? The only thing I can tell you is either eBay or Reverb. Those things are hard to find now. Like I've been trying to find a meter bridge for my BRC, and those things are getting harder because the console's so old. It's 30 years old. So and they stopped making stuff for it 25 years ago. So that's all I can say. It's really hard to find a meter bridge for that. The MX 8000s were definitely more reliable than the 9000s, which was the console that had the built-in meter bridge. But they are hard. They're hard to get now. Same thing with the Mackeys. The Mackie 32.8s. They're becoming more and more scarce. Reese says, you need a compressor. Would you say go for the Lin 76 or the Golden Age 3A? The Lin 76. The Lin 76s, for sure. Lindale Audio is a really good company, for sure. If you go, I would definitely get the Lin 76. Zone Recording Studio says, okay, they're great for converters. I traded your radar back to Izzy. They're standalone converter. Okay. Must have been something someone asking earlier. Is radar a really great system? They're just super, super expensive. Deal said, we're using a gate help with noise. Well, see, no, not really, because see, a gate is only effective to stop any signal. It won't reduce noise. Now, you're more like an expander, but a gate is what, like anything, is if the signal, whatever you set the threshold, once the threshold, it meets the threshold, is closing the signal. But once something goes above that threshold, the gate's gonna open. So once the gate opens, any noise that is making through that signal is gonna be heard. Like I said, with the noise, you want to reduce as much chain of gear as possible. Like I said, I think with the Avalon and just that 176 will be more than enough on a vocal chain. Let me see. Sponsor is ready to go to 11.6 or for a better DBX 160. If he got that's if he got, say, 160. He may not have a DBX 160. So it really depends. Like I said, I try multiple. If you got multiple choices of compressors, try them and see how you like it. You'll be amazed. Sometimes like a FMR compressor might be more than enough. But for the most part, I use the compressor on the Avalon. I don't have any problem with any peak issues or volume issues, just using the some people don't like the Avalon's compressor. They like the EQ and the preamp. They just don't like the compressor. But I don't have a problem with their compressor on that channel strip. That's just me. And then Bourne says, would you say for pops and clicks, the signal is too hot in digital? I would say not necessarily, unless you're just peeking out in the red. I would definitely say more the pops and clicks is usually come from it's usually a buffer issue between the RAM and the CPU of your Mac or your PC for the most part. A lot of times you have the buffer, you can have sometimes people have it set at like 1028, and that might be too much because it's trying to do all that information, and it's overloading the CPU, and the CPU can't handle it. So a lot of times you have to run a lower buffer speed, like 256. And then a lot of times your pops and clicks will go away. It's not so much playback as it is trying to capture all that data on the recording side that can cause pops and clicks. or it just, it could be something going on with the interface. The converter might be just having issues. Sometimes you might have to reboot to reconnect your converter back to your PC or Mac. And then a lot of times that pops and clicks go away that way. Sometimes it could just be that it's having a hard time losing communication between that interface. Let me see what else we got. The 1176 only goes to 1 to no 1176. You got 4 to 1, 8 to 1. You got 16 to 1, 21, and then you got all buttons in. So 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 16 to 1, 21, and 21 is Dana limiting. And then you got all buttons in. Like I said, I got two of them. Two Lin 76. You say you're gonna go with the Lin. Yeah, I got two of them. Awesome compressors. I think they're the closest when it comes to clones. They're the closest to getting you that that Universal Audio 1176 compression sound. That's just my opinion. Some people might think a little differently, but I think the Lin 76 is if you don't get, let me see. Reese says, okay. Reese says, I got the Heritage Audio 73. I need a good compressor. Like I said, I think the Lin 76s will be great. Okay, yeah, Don sponsored about the DBX. And a lot of those vintage DBXs, other than the solid, the classic ones, the 160, the 165, the 162, just depends on if you can find a good deal on them. Because a lot of those classic DBXs are kind of pricey to find. So, okay, and then let me see. Zone Recording said, pick your DAW of choice and learn it. Like back in there, yeah. Like we were talking about earlier with DAWs. We were talking about DAWs. I don't think you can go wrong with whether you master Harrison Mix Bus. There's Harrison Mix Bus 10 out there. Mixcraft 10, Ableton Live. There is Reason Studio 13 right now. There is Studio One 7, version 7. There is you name it. There's Cubase. There's Reaper. There's a lot of them. So Logic Pro. Okay, Reese, you just Googled and looked. Okay, on the okay, good on the Lin 76. I guess I got two of them. I also got the Lin EQs. They look like they're basically the Pultec clones over there. Those are the Lintec Pultec style EQs. I got the two Lin 76s, and I also got a Lin 2A, which is an LA 2A clone. No regrets with those pieces of gear, and they're affordable. They're affordable. Okay, sponsors. I'm not gonna lie to you here, soldier. Here to learn. Well, if you're gonna call me soldier, because I was a soldier, NCO. I was in the Army for years before I retired. So I can't believe I've been retired I officially retired in 2013. Man, can you believe that? It's been 12 years since I officially retired from the Army. Anyhow, moving on. But I'm glad you're here to learn. That's what I'm here. I'm also here to learn. Believe it or not, I don't know everything. I'll give you an example. Believe it or not, someone was watching my channel, and I'll try to make this really quick. Someone was watching my channel when I first got started. This is about 4 or 5 years ago, and his name was Phil. And Phil was, because I knew I was really knowledgeable about music and mixing and recording and all that. He's like, man, so he reached out to me. But one thing that I did not know about or wasn't really aware about was like star grounding systems. And the reason why I say that, because all the studios I've been in, everything was already wired. And when you go in those studios, you can't see the wiring because it's under the floor, it's under panels, it's so well hidden, you don't see it. So I never thought about how important a good star ground system is. I just, because of that, I didn't know to imply it. And so we got to talking, and he started mentioning about showing me pictures of the studio, and he's talking about the star ground. I'm like, star ground? He said, yeah, you should set up your star ground. And I'm like, I never thought about that. And we got to talking. So that was something that I learned. So there's always people, even here on my channel, that they're very knowledgeable that can even teach me stuff. So I would never be that type of person that, I'm not a type of person. There's no narcissism in me that, in other words, I'm not a type of person, you can't tell me anything. If I don't know it, I'm not going to comment on it, or someone can teach me about something. I'm for sure. If it's a good, I'm definitely going to listen. So let me see. Okay, sponsors. Ask Mark. He's one who put me on to the DB. Yeah. Like I said, DBX 162s, the 160s, the DBX 165. And then DBX started making solid state models, but they're not also known for compressors. They also make preamps and EQs and everything else. But they just got really, really popular with their compressors because they are really, and because they're really aggressive compressor, and they really, really work on bass guitar, certain vocals, especially rock vocals. They were using DBX 60s before Euforica Lab decided to make the Distressor. They were big on 160s for vocals, bass, and especially drums. They liked how the compressor, because if you're familiar with compressors, the biggest thing you want to control dynamics and peaks without making your stuff sound like it. You want a compressor to compress and sound like it's compressing without actually sound like it's compressing, if that makes sense. Because if you have something that sound like it's compressing or squashing, you're over compressing. So you have to look at the peaks before your compression and after that to see if you're maintaining your peaks properly, to even out your peaks, the unwanted, uncontrollable volumes in your signal. Let me see. Oh, boy, it's bedtime. Yeah, it's pretty late for some people. It's pretty early for other people. It's pretty, depends on. Some people are. I didn't realize I had people from even overseas watching my channel. So the time difference is varies for people. Oh, Reese says nah, not really. No, I wouldn't say a blue baby bottle. No, I've said this time and time again when it comes to mics. When I was sending the other video, I don't know if you guys watched it about the gear buying choices. If it works, it works. If it sounds good, it sounds good. I don't care what company it is. Believe it or not, I wish I found another one of these mics. This MXL is the 2006. If you're not familiar with, there's a thing called Audio Test Kitchen. Audio Test Kitchen tested hundreds to thousands of microphones and compared between $100 microphones up to $10,000 microphones. And the specs, believe it or not, to this MX 2000, and this is the Megami edition that I'm using for this live stream right now, had pretty much the specs are really, really close to a Telefunken 251. I was blown away for this mic to only be $150 to a $10,000 Telefunken. And I was like, really? That's incredible. So you'll be amazed how much even $100 microphones can sound as good as a $10,000 microphone. So, and then I've always said this too. Even if you bought a $100 microphone, there is micparts.com and places like that that can allow you to upgrade. A lot of times, the biggest difference between cheap mics and expensive mics is usually the electronics. You can always go buy some more capacitors and a better capsule and things like that. And you'd be amazed how much your mic, that cheap mic, will actually come to life, just improving the electronics in the capsule. I did the upgrade to this microphone. The caps only cost me, I think the kit was only like $20 on eBay. And I soldered the new caps in here, and this mic sound a ton better. So that's why I'm not surprised with, liking that the blue mic. So let me see. We said it's rich in the mid range with a smooth top in it. Yeah, I can believe that. And you saying it sounds better than your UA7. I like this. It's like with any microphone. This is why I always talk about microphones and having a good variety of different microphones. Not every microphone no microphone is a one for all. A U87 might sound good on one female vocal, but if you have a different female vocalist and her texture and her tone is totally different, that U87 microphone may not sound good. Even Bruce Swedien said that he used all kinds of condenser microphones on Michael Jackson's recordings for when he was doing Thriller and all that, and Beat It, and when he was doing his Off the Wall album. He said he just did not like the way those condenser microphones sounded. He used the SM7, and he said, and that's what you hear on the records. It's a dynamic microphone. So microphones vary. You have to really be patient to really learn how your microphones sound and really understand what sources they're going to sound good on. Because not every microphone is going to sound good, even though it could be a $10,000 microphone. Sometime a $90 SM57 sounds better than a $10,000 Telefunken 251. So 251s tend to be a little bright, but they're really great for 251s are great for, they're usually good for females, and a lot of times they're good for horns, trumpets, flutes, stuff like that. Welcome Kamikaze. Okay, says I'm looking at these C14 clones. I think there is Pro R and like Belfefi or one of those. I've heard great reviews with those. Then there's, of course, Warm Audio got the Warm Audio 14 is a C14 clone. But we used to use the AKG. Me and my friend of mine, we used to use the AKG C414. AKG are they make fabulous microphones. Is like the AKG C12. That was like the Telefunken's competition microphone. I don't have a C12, but I have a modified tube microphone. That's a C12 clone. That's modified as a tube microphone. It's made by Bad Axe. It's called the T11A, and it's been modified. And it's a tube microphone, and it sounds amazing. So if you want to hear what that microphone sound like, that T11A that I use, go back and listen to that Christmas song that I was doing with my artist Wanda on that Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas video that I did. That's the microphone. The preamp is the Avalon and the Lin 76 compressor, and the microphone itself is that Telefunken T11A. That's what I used for vocals. So let me see. Reese says, but the best mic I've heard recently is the Dobman U87. Okay, sounds so good, warm and clear with a smooth top. A lot of pressure. Yeah, there's, like I said, there's a lot of them. So let me see. Oh, so that's how to be a good engineer 100. Okay. Appreciate that. Vigilante, welcome. You said about a TML, the Newman Tiller, the TLM 102, very popular. and I want to sell it. I have the Warm 251, and it's perfect for my voice. Every voice is different, and so yeah, I would say if I would keep your TL, I wouldn't sell it, even though you got the Warm Audio 251. I would not sell it. I would use it for other things, like you try it on a guitar cabinet or something like that. It's always good to build you a nice mic locker. So that's just my opinion, unless you just you just don't want it. But I would definitely keep it as a second option for something else. So, as far as you're asking how's the 251? I've listened to a lot of demos. I know he's asking Vigilante how he likes it. I watched a lot of demos on the 251 with the you can watch their warm audio. There's warm audio videos with the 251. They do different microphone videos, and it's a really good sounding microphone. It really is. Sylvia Massey did some videos with the 251s. There's quite a few warm audio videos if you want to hear what it sounds like. And they'll let you know their whole entire vocal chain. Even including the Tone Beast and the Warm Audio 73 preamp and the Warm Audio 76 compressor. All right, so let me see. Sponsor young men and women. There's no Bible for the spend your mind, come up with anything you can. But oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I would, yeah, Reese, you said if you want to try it. My thing is, if you want to try it, buy it. I don't think you're gonna have regrets because the 251 is a very popular microphone. If you want to hear another way, if you want to hear the 251, like I said, there's videos on it. I think Warm Audio did a really great job of emulating the actual authentic companies. So this is the reason why I always say, with these clone companies doing such a good job with these gear, I don't see the need to buy. It's kind of like with my Lindale Audio, the Lintech. These are basically the Lintech EQs. They sound as good as the Pultecs. Why buy the Pultecs when they sound just as good? If that makes sense. A Pultec, an actual Pultec, $8,000. I could buy a whole rack of Lindale Audio compressors and EQs and all that for the price of one Pultec. I just don't. That it makes no sense to me. So, all right. So we got some more comments. Coming Dio saying what mic would sound good for someone with a higher pitch voice like Stevie Wonder or Neil. Once again, that's it varies. Simply because there's more than just the microphone, it's the entire chain. The choice of preamp, the choice of compressor, and so forth that's going into the audio interface that's going to your DAW. But I would say the 251 is a brighter sounding microphone. I would say you couldn't go wrong if you got even if you got the Warm Audio 251 and you ran it through like a Warm Audio 76 or something like that, and maybe one of the Warm Audio compressors, or one of their preamps, or if you didn't have, or whatever preamp. You get the settings right and you get it dialed in, you should be able to get a good recording. You really should, just with that vocal chain. Let me see what else we got going on. Let me see, but that's for me. My voice, the TML was too dark for me. Like I said, it just depends. Everyone sounds different. And then there's gonna be some instances where that TLM 102, that Neumann, is gonna be perfect for certain situations. That's why I would say I would keep it for others, other than just recording your voice. Let me see. Let me see what else. Kamikaze. Currently, I'm just using the mic pre's on my soundtracks Topaz console. A little noisy, considering Gold Age 70. Yeah, I would definitely try different preamp. Unless you have the only company I know that really makes really nice preamps in their consoles would be like Audient, the Neves, the MCI, the Helios consoles. Even SSL didn't have great preamps. But other than that, the 2 leaders for preamps that actually came out of consoles would be like API and Neve for the most part. I don't really barely use the this has 48 preamps in it, but I don't really use the preamps in this console either. I use external preamps, even though there's nothing bad about the Allen Heath preamps. I like those. I like the color, the sound of those preamps I got in my racks over there. So let me see. Oh, Vinci said, I didn't think you used it for guitar. Yeah, try it on it. Try it on guitar and cabs. See how you like it on that. You'd be impressed. And the Reese says, get the Outrons laughing out loud. Yeah. I got Outrons. I have no problems with them. You know, except for one. One's having a channel issue. But as far as sound quality, they sound great. Let me see. You know what? I'll tell you what. I will do a vocal comparison between I'll do one between the Avalon, the Outron, the Tone Beast that I got over there, the Universal Audio 610 that I got, the Joe Meeks, the Personas, and the Art. The Art Pro. I got the Pro MPA 2s. I would do a vocal. It's about 7 preamp. I will do a video on that. I will do a vocal video, let y'all hear the difference between those preamps. All right, so let me see. Sponsor nothing off limits. Let me see. Venture said thoughts on the Lintec versus the Clark Pultec. The Clark Technics Pultecs they're not bad. They're actually decent, but the Lintecs they're a little bit better. That's all I can say. The Clark Technique Pultecs that I got, they're not bad at all. It's just that the Lintecs they're just a little bit better. I can hear the high end is smoother. It's just something about the presence when I'm running through the Lintecs. So Reese says, man, the Clark sounds good. Yeah, like I said, some people dog the Clark Technique stuff, but I've already debunked that. When I'm using the 11.7, I was using those on bass. I use that a lot on bass and horns on those Clark Technique 76s. And then the Clark Technique 2As, I use those on vocals for the vocals. Those Clark KT 2As. And that's all I can say. I did cheat on those 2As because they do have the opto cell upgrade in them, the T4B opto cell upgrade in them. So let me see. Reset the Triton console. I like that's Triton is Triton is what it is. It is what it is. Amazing sounding consoles. And Kamikaze says you're looking for a budget condenser for vocals under $400, probably the same closely. I would say if you want a really, really, really nice sounding, really good sounding microphone that sounds really good, in my opinion, that's going to be my Rode NT22A. This microphone right here. This is by Rode. It is the it is the Rode NT2A. If you want to know how this microphone sounds, there is a video done at RCA Recording Studios in Nashville, and they use this on a lot of sources. So because it sounded so good, I got two of them. And also, when I watched the Rode factory tour with Peter Friedman, who owns Rode, and I saw how high quality their factory was, is in Australia. The quality of how that factory is, I was sold on Rode. I got two of them. These are the NT2As. A lot of people get the NT1, and the NT21A is super popular in the home recording. I've got the 2As because you have control for, you have your pad, you got of course, your polar patterns. Most of the people you record in cardio, which I got in cardio, but you got figure 8 and omni direction. You got your padding, and then you got your dB, you got your filter. XMI, and you can find these for under $400. Under $400. These are averaging, even used, a couple of $100. Amazing sounding microphone. These are really great sounding microphones. You won't be disappointed. Sponsors, I only use analog for recording, but after that, I'm in the box. Well, I'm the same way. I am a lot of analog, but I do use in the box. So it just depends. So Lintech is cleaner because no tube. No, some of them do actually have tubes in them, but let me see. Going back to Zone. Recording Studio says I used to own a Toft. Built in headroom was not that great. I don't know because Malcolm Toft, he's the one that built and designed the Toft because he used to do for Trident when he left Trident. But those Tofts he outsourced it to China, so I don't know if he could build them to the specs like the Trident, like the 78s or the 68 consoles, like those type of consoles. But I would say if I was a Toft console or a Trident console, like a 78, I would try to get the Trident. That's the kind of board they recorded like the Stones and Queen and all those, all those European bands over in Europe, with the Trident console. But I would definitely look at, and also the Trident has really good EQs and really good preamps in them. So let me see what else. Reese says I'm a Black Lion audio fan too. I got the B1, B12 low end, and yeah, they're like I said with Black Lion, they make really good stuff, and then of course they're mods for other gear. They're known for modifying other gear. Black Lion. Yep. Let me see. Zone Recording Studio, I've been recording for over 40 years. So that if Zone are recording, so that means you started with tape. Like I like tape machines. The problem with tape machines, I've always said it is not that, it was always the editing. I always used to cringe when I would see someone take a tape. And these guys get really good with that razor blade. But it's just them just cutting the tape. Because once you with the razor blade, you cut it. You can't undo it. So you have to be good at tape. But tape sounds, as far as sound, that tape sound, it is hard to beat. It is hard to beat the sound sonic running through tape, through outboard gear on like an SSL or Neve console on tape with outboard gear, everything's patched to the pass bay. It is hard to beat that sound. That analog sound is just hard to beat. Welcome, man. Yeah, like I said, I've been starting at 7:00, but it's you're good. Welcome. You just gotta, like I said, with the notifications, you just gotta know that I start on 7:00 Central Time Sundays. So Monday was just because I didn't do it Sunday because I was exhausted. But just remember, you gotta write it down. I start on Sundays on 7:00. Let me see. I'm biased, laughing now. I hate those roads. Not everyone, like I said, not everyone likes them. I like them. I have no problem. I love these roads, my NT2As. So, but like I said, in other videos I made, what works for some people don't work for others. So let me see. Bond said British boards. Let me see. Yeah, British. Let me see. Okay, let me see. I must have missed a joke on that one. Let me see. Yep. Okay, Lucas Juicer said the Lintec is a solid state design for faster transits and less noise. So where's the Pultex? Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we're talking, yeah, but I'm talking. I thought you're talking about Lintec audio as a whole, because my Lintec 76 has got tubes in them. But okay, I'm not going to debate that. Okay, Man Network said, let me see. We rarely cut out we rarely cut the tape anymore. We usually record into Pro Tools off the tape and edit there, unless a master we used. Okay, gotcha. I know Studio 1979 is big on using tape machines. One of the few, they're one of the few that actually services tape machines and sell them and all that for people that are looking for tape machines. Now, I would say this. I'm not looking to buy a tape machine. Now, if someone gave me a tape machine, I would take it. It's like, well, where are you going to put it? I would probably take my little, what's your name over there, and put it in the corner and take my little cabinet out and move it into another room. That's probably what I would do. I would love to have a Studer tape machine or an MCI tape machine. I would love to have one, but I'm not buying one. Tape machines are just because the tape itself can be expensive, and a lot of times you don't get a lot of time for tape. You only get, if you're running, if you're at 30 IPS, you might get 3 songs. Because I don't know if anyone ever saw a tape machine in real life, but a tape machine, when you go in, the reels are like they're moving. The reels are they're spinning. So, but thank God for really good AD to DA converters and DAWs because of the editing. It's the main reason. So, yep, tape was money. Spawn says, hold Mark. Okay. Let me see. Have I tried the Lewitt Pure Tubes? No, I haven't. I have not. And then Spawn says 3 or 2-inch tape because I heard it sounds different also. I'm always known for 2-inch tape, whether 16 track, a 16 stack, or 24 track stack. 2-inch tape is the most common I've always seen. I ain't never really seen a 3-inch tape. That's a pretty good size tape machine, but so let me see. So So you got all the Lewitt microphones. I think man has everything. I don't think they're in something that man doesn't have. I think man was telling me you got 25 recording studios and 10,000 API consoles. Then don't you have like 25,000 Pultec EQs? And I'm teasing. So let me see. Let me see what else. So what else we got on? Yep. I know a lot of people talking about the Lewitt 140s, and then of course there's the Lewitt 240s. I was gonna try to get a couple of Lewitts just to see, because Warren Hewitt, he's a big sponsor for the Lewitt microphones. From what I've heard, they sound great. They're really good sounding microphone. They're an option to the AKGs on the Lewitts. So yeah. Welcome, Seven Son. And then of course, man said which Lewitt is best for what, vocals, guitar, what genre. It just, like I said, like anything, it just depends on what you're doing. I've reset vocals, hip hop. And there's big stories about that because Warm Audio made the W8000, which is a Sony C800G clone. I think that microphone is about $900. It was supposed to be one of the most popular microphones for vocals, for hip hop vocals, was the Sony C800G. That's also an option if you want to get something like that. I always looked at funny with that big old heat sink attached to the microphone, but the tube in there gets two microphones get pretty warm. So let me see what else. Oh yeah, Lawton. I forgot about a lot. Atlantis or Clarion for pure. I forgot about Lawton microphones. So like I said, there's 150 of them. So Kamikaze says 62 Pultecs, one for each of the 1/3. Like I said, good luck for me. Good luck affording one. An average Pultec I've ever seen, $7,000-$8,000. It's almost like trying to get a Fairchild 670. $25,000 for that compressor. I'm like, sheesh. Crazy. Welcome, Maddie Two Hats. We're just talking gear. We're just talking gear and recording. Like I said, there's so many different brands. Lawton Audio. I want to try some of their stuff too. It's just So welcome, World YRZ. Welcome. Says, who's my favorite artist, male or female? Female artists, when it comes to singers, and it really depends on, as far as vocally, I love Faith Evans. I like Mariah Carey. I like Athena Cage, used to sing with Cut Close. I got a few. And as far as male, Eric Benet, Brian McKnight, Johnny Gill, Glenn Jones. So definitely like Stevie. Luther Vandross when he's alive. So there's quite a few. I guess it depends. But Faith Evans is definitely one of them. I love Faith Evans for sure. I wish Mickey Howard had stayed on her game, because Mickey Howard, she's the one that made that song "Come Share My World." You can YouTube search that, Mickey Howard, Come Share My World. And then, of course, definitely Lisa Fisher. Lisa Fisher used to be one of the back. She used to tour with Luther Vandross. Awesome singer. Amazing singer. Let's see, man. You can find them used for around 1K. Yep. Comic says, so I don't have any outboard gear EQ yet. Just keep looking on. Like I get my gear. A lot of stuff I get it from Reverb. A lot of stuff I get from Reverb, and then of course eBay. Yeah, I have a small wallet. I have a small mic locker myself. I'm always looking for mics. Welcome, Mixed Up. Good. Yeah, we're doing well. You know, I'm doing well. Appreciate you popping in. Matthew says, I like the last video more about how everyone is different and use whatever. Yeah, exactly. That's the premise of it. You know, because I think when he got on there, it's not like he was complaining that people were complaining to him about him critiquing video, him critiquing gear. And I'm like, you can't get mad when you're critiquing gear that someone might own and you're critiquing it and saying negative things about it. Of course, you're going to offend them. You know, they got a piece of gear. No one, no one wants to make them feel like they bought bad decisions, even though some people do make bad decisions, but no one makes, it's how you do it. But I'm not going to sit there and say, I would never tell someone, oh, you know, if you bought and you said, hey, I just bought this new PreSonus audio interface. That's like me saying, why'd you buy that? You know how that makes someone, when you're excited about that interface and all someone goes, why'd you buy that? That ain't a very good audio interface. That thing is junk. How do you think that person's going to take that? That's the thing, you know, or whatever the case. That's the reason why I made the video. I'm like, you know, and you go around, well, I bought it because other people are having good reviews. They had great results with this, and I liked their review on the video, so I bought it. You know, but sometimes I think people, when they make these videos, they want their opinions to be like, they want their personal opinions and reviews to be like the know-all be-all. I've been doing this for 25 years, so I've been doing this for 25 or 30 years. So because I've been doing it for 30 years, what I say it's law. No, you could be doing this for 50 years and you're not going to have the answer to everything. You're not. I've been recording since 1990 and I don't have all the answers. There are people in here. There are people on this channel. There are people right on this chat that know stuff that I don't know. You know, that's just the way it is. You always have to be learning in this thing because this thing is always changing. There are gear out there that people will start naming pieces of gear I've never heard of. So going back to Mixed Up, said the Pultec EQP 500 series are really decent. I think so. I think Warren Hewitt gives them praise. He talks about those 500 series. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I know what I know now, I would have invested in a lot of 500 series. You can get so much more bang for your buck out of 500 series than just constantly buying 19-inch rack gear. I wish I had known that, even though I kind of knew that. I just never thought about investing in 500 series. But you can get in a 3 or 4 rack space. You can get up to 8 pieces of gear instead of having 8 pieces of gear, that's taking up practically a whole rack, all in the 500 series. Some people try to claim that because they're all using the same power source that they're not all driven hard. I just disagree with that. I've never heard anyone have any bad results with 500 series, but let me see. So look, Luke, let me see what you're saying. So you're saying for vocals, pop, modern, Nile, Alan is better than I like. So that's something that I think that's what man is saying. Okay, okay. See, let me see what else. Okay, Zone Recording Studios. I just picked up a Harrison 32C. My pre. Okay, and Harrison 30C. Is it the software or is it the actual console? I know Westlake did a lot of their initial recording for Barbara Streisand and a lot of when Queen came to the States, they recorded at Westlake, and definitely a lot of the initial recording was recorded at Westlake with a Harrison 32C console. That was Bruce Sweeting's favorite console before they start mixing in Ocean Way and East West. But he definitely used the Harrison mix. He used the Harrison 32C console. He loved the EQ on that. Spawn says nobody does know it all. Yeah, no, I mean that's just a fact. Oh, man says, let me read this right. Barry Johnson has been recording, has been collecting gear for 30 years. He's been making music for pretty much none of. I don't mean to laugh because Barry John, I mean, he's knowledgeable, but I haven't heard. I just on his top platform, it seems like he just talks and gives his opinion. I made videos where people have actually heard me done stuff in here. People are like, well, I want to hear what you know, and then they hear it. You know, they've heard stuff that I've done through the Allen Heath. They heard what I've done. I made videos what it sound like doing through the Behringer and other gear. And people have heard stuff they want to hear instead of you always talking. So, so I hate to laugh, but you know, I don't think Barry Johns is a bad guy. I think he just overly opinionated, and I think that he doesn't like when you critique, because I think he didn't like when he was critiquing Avid and Pro Tools, and Pro Tools, you know, they kind of shut him out. Well, you can't dish it and not take it. So, and the only reason I'll say this, the only thing I would say this is Barry Johns was saying negative reviews about Clark Technique gear, right? But he's got Clark Technique gear in his rack. It's like, why are you dogging Clark Technique when you got Clark Technique? I'm not gonna dog gear and still have it just to make my racks look like I got full, you know, like I got racks full of gear. If I don't like certain pieces of gear, I'm getting rid of it. Period. I'm not gonna do something stupid like Glenn from Spectre Sound Audio and take a sledgehammer and he doesn't like the Clark Technique Pultex. So he take out there and take a sledge. I don't care if it was only a couple of $100. He takes that sledgehammer and just smashes a Clark. Like, just give it away, you know. And then he was talking about anyone with Clark Technique in their studio run, you know, that turned me off. That's why I stopped watching. And then on top of it, all he talks about is metal. Like, that's the only style of music out there is metal, heavy metal. Like everyone else is tuning in, like everyone wants to do heavy metal. No, that's all you want to do. So let me see. I got so let me see. Yeah, Harrison is a good, yeah. Like if you want to, yeah, those are, but once again, those type of they are heavy. They are heavy. It says Lucas Johnston said, Mark, I have the gas. Yep. Yeah. When you're into this recording stuff, it is, let me tell you, it's gear acquisition syndrome is a real thing and it's contagious because it's like you can't stop. I tell myself I had to stop. I was always looking for a piece of gear. I was like, man, let me get on in there. What else can I buy? What else can I buy? What else can I buy? Then I looked at it, it's like, man, I got 20 synthesizers. I had to myself, I ain't buying any more synthesizers. even though I don't own a Yamaha Montage, because I still have a Motif XF, an original Motif, one of the first ones. I said I wouldn't mind upgrading to a Montage, but I said I like guitars. Where you can put them in rows. Keyboards, you can run out of room with keyboards really, really fast. And I'm a keyboard player, so. Oh, Zona says you got your MCI from Chris from 1979. Yeah, he has an MCI console in his control room. And here's the thing. When they were talking about recording consoles, people always talk about API, Neve, and SSL. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of hits, especially from the 80s, were recorded on Sony's, MCI's, Helios consoles, Harrison consoles, Tascam consoles, Yamaha consoles. It wasn't just Neve, API, and SSL. Even though a lot of people probably think that, because those are the three that people talk about all the time. A lot of songs, especially rock, were recorded on MCI consoles. So, Man Network, let me see. Man Network said he banned me from his channel for politically correcting his. Did he? I just simply comment. I said, "How you gonna dog Clark Technique? You got a whole rack full of Clark Technique stuff." That made no sense to me. I'm gonna own and buy Clark Technique, but I'm gonna dog it, and that's hilarious to me. Matthew S says I always come across a sales pitch in my way of the hot. Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm like real careful when it comes to people that have biased opinions about gear. He said that he denied that, then he banned me. But then wants to claim people to be mature. He wants you to take what he says as law. And if you don't, but then he wants you to act mature about the situation. So, you can't be. It's almost hypocrisy. That's so. So Lucas says we're doomed. Like I said, I'm the type of person. When it's a good deal, it's a good deal. When it comes to gear. So. Yep. I have 3 19-inch rack towers, each 6 feet. Yeah, I got 2 of them. Well, they're not 6 feet tall. These racks are about 4 feet. Then those are 2 feet. I still haven't bought those racks for those. I need to buy racks for those. All that gear was sitting over there. So let me see. Man says, honestly, I think most people should avoid a lot of gear unless you're making money with it. If you want some for fun, good, but don't blow money for no reason. Yeah, it's true. Let's see. The sponsor says, no, keep all your good stuff. Yeah, if you it's all choice. I would say if you got room for it, and so Mixed Up says, Mark, do you have an opinion on the sound quality of a synth keyboard VST as compared to physical units? I would say now that if you bought, let's say, for example, the Core Collection, pretty much the sound quality of those sounds coming out of that is as good as like my real Triton. Like the Triton plug-in and my actual Triton, they sound identical. You can't tell them a difference. And that's the same thing I would say with any of those VST software, like the Analog Lab 5 or the Synth Anthology or the Contact or a lot of these VST instruments. Knowing what I know now, like right now, I'm a keyboard player and I just collect keyboards because I'm a keyboard guy. A lot of them are just because I collect them because I've always wanted them. But if I was a person that just wanted to have, I would only have a couple of. If I was just doing strictly nothing but focus on production, I would probably have a couple of boards simply because I play, and perform. But other than that, I would, man, the software be the way to go because you can get the same quality sound. But then again, the only downside is you gotta be careful with running a lot of sound because it all depends on how powerful your PC or Mac is. But overall, you can't tell the difference between plugins and actual real gear anymore. The only difference, I think, the real gear is because they have options and controls on the real gear that the software may not have. For example, there's like my Roland Phantom. There's a lot of controls on that you probably won't get if they ever made a plugin for it. So that's all I can say on that. Let me see. Sponsors, I think life is going back to analog. I think, and I'll say real quick on the analog, I think it's because people miss the way analog sounds. Analog always sounds authentic, and I think people miss that. So that's why I think it's coming back. Let me see. Lisa's bought Grove 2. I think my Grove 2. I read a mic from them. The Lisa's GT. Yeah, the Grove 2 MT. Yeah, I got a Grove 2 microphone. And then man says proper recording technique and plugins can hit you get you hit records. So don't think the gears. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And it's, because hit records is about how people like the song and not the gear. Songs aren't hit because of the gear. Songs are hits because the song is good. And then Comic says analog synths different from digital. Oh yeah, because digital is mostly sampled or they're manipulated parameters like LFOs and stuff like that. So, or a lot of that's just samples. Analog is using, you're changing filters and knobs and all that to create sine and saw tooth types of sounds to create these sounds. So you're asking, say, I asked because I use VST Core Collection, Rolling Cloud, UVI. Yeah, but I got the UVI. They got the Synth Anthology. I sold my keys decades ago in favor of VSTs and haven't touched the physical unit in decades. Like I said, and even then, some people are using MIDI controllers, VST instruments, and performing with a MIDI controller, and they're using an ADD converter and running it through and playing that way. People are doing it that way. There's no wrong way to do it. I use both. I just have a lot of synthesizers because I was collecting synthesizers because I always wanted these boards. But I told myself after all the synthesizers I got, I'm not buying another synthesizer. I'm just not. Unless it's like, let's say I came across a Korg Oasis for like $200. Yeah. But other than that, just to be buying another board, no, I don't have room for it. I just don't. I have absolutely no room for no more boards. So let me see. Sister, yeah. Oh, okay. Welcome, Intricate. Man, a lot of at least I can see some new names here, and some people are tuning in a little bit later. I just want for all the new people that just recently started tuning in. I usually start this about 7:00 on Sunday. So if you want to start tuning in a little sooner, 7:00 Central Time is when I start these live casts because it's going on 2 hours. So I'm about to shut it down. And until next week. So just remember 7 o'clock Central Time, I start these live streams on Sunday. Unless I'm just something happens, I'm too tired, or whatever the case may be. So, but I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's always great to see all the, like I said, so many comments I can't keep up. So, but anyhow, welcome. Let me see. I gotta read a couple more. I appreciate subscribing. Like I said, I think sometimes this has been told to me. A lot of people like my channel because I do these live streams and I can interact with people. Some people only just record their videos and they just go through with comments. I think being able to interact with people and they can ask stuff right there on the spot or in the live chat or something like that, I think people appreciate that more. So I think that's also helping the channel grow. Sponsor Mark, look at that board. You got nah. Even though there's a $20,000 board like this Allen Heath, I didn't pay 20 grand for it. Trust me, I didn't. I know how to find deals. I'll say it like that. So I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate everyone tuning in. And like I said, Sundays, 7 o'clock. I'm about to wrap it up. The temperature didn't dropped, and the heat didn't. I got my heat on. I got to turn my heat back on. It kicked off on. Starting to get cold in here. So let me see. I got a couple more. Sponsor, you got a masterpiece back there. People don't appreciate that. Mixed up. Yep. I use Steel Logic, 88 grand, save some. Yeah. And Intricate says facts. Personal is the key. True. It's a sponsor. You got to appreciate that. I try to watch Beato live. So the thing with Rick Beato is that Rick Beato, he's got 3 million subscribers. His chat be going by so fast. There's just no way he can talk to. He can't interact with his. If you watch his live stream, his chat be like, he's like, I don't see how he can even. He needs people to be able to. He's administrators to go through, because I guarantee people are asking or responding and making things, and he can't catch it. He can't catch it because he's got 3 million subscribers. Let me see. Spawn says, how can I email you? I'm at dsrecruiter@hotmail.com. dsrecruiter@hotmail.com. So let me see. But like I said, like I said, is okay, at a Layer Cake Gang at Tony Black Live. Okay, gotcha. He said, I missed the times when you're a 3 mil. Oh, you're talking about, yeah. Says, man, Marks, to be honest, to hit 3 million live and like I said, 3 million subscribers, but that's when you can't really get personal with people. You can't really interact and be, I don't want to be to that point where I got so many people that now people are not being. It's kind of like you become invisible. I don't want my subscribers to be invisible to me, because to me, everyone on this channel that have insight is that's what makes people appreciate when you feel like your voice can be heard and what you got to say is important as well. So man says, when you going to turn on your super chat function? Oh, I forgot to do that. I would do it for the next. I would do it for the next live stream. I totally forgot. I appreciate that. Because any money help can help me get a cable or two. Because I can always use cables and things like that. So, oh, Corey, I'm sorry you just now tuning. I'm about to tune out. I'm about to shut it down. Been here for almost 2 hours. It's been an hour and 55 minutes. Like I said, let me see. Man, having a whole mixed console and talking about nothing for 4 hours on every. Yeah, like I said, some people make channels, and I've heard a lot of people that have their channels. They just talk and talk and talk, and you never heard anything they've done. But it's like I used to watch Creative Sauce. I think he's Australian, and he would always demo stuff with Cakewalk. He said Barry Johnson's a preacher. I'm not going, like I said, I know a lot of people, they got their opinions of Barry John. I got my opinions of Barry John. Are just, the guy's a knowledgeable guy, but it's just that you can't, well, anyhow. So, it's just what it is. It's funny. Everyone knows when I say they that's why I don't have to mention. So, anyhow, Mixed Up said this is a great community. I appreciate it. Oh man, that's what said he knows how to read the spec. Okay. Let me get the channel before. Oh, that's hilarious. But anyhow, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Corey and Man Network, always Zona Recording Studios. Thanks. Oglepix, thanks for tuning in. Kamikaze, always. Intricate, thanks for tuning in. Matty Two Hats. Everyone that tunes in every week, Man 257 was earlier. We had a Spawn for tuning in. Mixed Up, thanks for tuning in. Lucas Junior Studios, all of y'all. I know I'm missing some people. I know I'm missing quite a few people. That Reese, I think Reese earlier. Everyone. And if I forget somebody, charge it to my head, not my heart. Vigilante, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna see y'all next week. I'll be back here next week. Rob, oh yes, yeah. Just so go. What's your question before I get off here? Sorry, I got a late question. Question for make it really, really quick because I gotta end it because I've been on 2 hours. Some guy music. Thanks for tuning in. What's your question, right quick, Rob Will? Because I'm about to shut it down. Like I said, I'm about to tune it. Shut it down. Like I said, about to see you next week. Yes. Is it better to have a good mic pre along with it? Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So like I said, I'll be here next week. I'm gonna talk about recording and gear, and like I always do. And we'll see y'all next week. Appreciate everyone. You got it. You got it, Rod Will, Jay. We'll see y'all next week. And thanks for tuning in. Read the manual.